Welcome everyone to another episode of Tips from My Garage. My name is Lisiate Tonga. I'm a recovering addict, father of two boys, husband to a beautiful wife, owner of online consulting business Upgrade Version U.0, and author of ebook Q&A Between Two Addicts. And today I want to talk to those of you who are just beginning your journey down the road of recovery, or those who are thinking about going down that road, or contemplating what you think it might be like, or may have some reservations or anxiety about the unknown, about what to expect when you're beginning your journey through recovery. I want to be clear about the person that I want to speak to specifically is the one who is has just started and is wondering why there's so much anxiety, so much that you're feeling, so many emotions. And actually, that's really what I want to talk about, are all the things that you're feeling, all the emotions that you're experiencing at this time. And I know that it's uh, a hard thing to do, to make the decision, to make the commitment. But when you start the journey, there's a lot of different feelings. There's there's a little bit of excitement because you are, well, you don't know what to expect. And so I think the novelty of it all creates a bit of an excitement. There's also a lot of anxiousness around what to expect, how it's going to feel. And I think that that comes because there's a lot that is unknown. The reason that you're feeling so many emotions is because of how wired you have been, how grounded you have been in your lifestyle up until this point. So you may have been in your lifestyle for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. This is a long time for your brain to create connections to your behaviors and to embed them into your brain sensories so that it becomes automatic. So those are things that you do without even thinking about it at all. It's so natural. It comes to you like tying a shoe. It's no longer something that you have to think about. It's something that just happens. And to think about trying to interrupt that thought pattern or to stop that behavior creates those feelings of anxiousness. And it's excitement, it's anxiousness, it's happiness, it's sadness, it's depression. You can feel all these things at once. There are some things that you could have gone through in your life that have those same kind of feelings. I guess one of those feelings for me personally was when I met my wife. And I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here, but prior to meeting her, I was set up on a blind date with my wife. And so I'd never met her before. I did Facebook stalk her before we met. We had talked on the phone, so I was very curious about what she looked like before meeting her. But even talking to her and looking at her photos, nothing really prepares you for when you actually meet in person somebody that you've never met before, but has the potential to maybe go somewhere. And I had all these feelings overwhelm me all at once. I was excited, I was nervous, I was insecure, I was forcing myself to be motivated and and happy, but I had all these thoughts in my head about, oh, what if this and what if that? And if this doesn't go well, then maybe, I've failed at finding the right person, or if she doesn't find me attractive, or, if if she thinks that, my personality isn't what she thought it was. Like, I had this whole thing happening in my head about, what if all these things, and all of it was because of the unknown. I had no idea of how she was going to respond to me, or whether she was going to accept me, or, all these things. And, it could bruise my ego, my pride could take a big hit. And so, I had all these feelings flood to me, right before we met at my place. And she didn't actually come into the house. We met outside and we went for a walk to get something to eat somewhere. But right before that, I just remember thinking to myself, I have never been this emotional or nervous before in my entire life. And I couldn't figure out why. And I had thought before, this hasn't really happened to me in the past. I guess with other women, I haven't really been too nervous. And I always wondered why. I was actually wondering why this was all of a sudden happening when I had never felt like this before. And I came to the realization that it was because I was sober. I hadn't drank anything. I had been actually sober for 18 months at that stage. And, before, I could be out at a club or at a bar, or, had pre drinks at my house or someone else's house. And when you have a pre drink or a pre smoke or something like this, that always sets you at ease, and it allows you to, come out your shell a bit more, and let your guard down a bit more, and be a bit more relaxed. And I didn't have those vices at that time. I'd been sober for some time, and all of a sudden I had all these feelings, and I almost didn't know how to deal with them. And so I feel like when you're taking that step down, when you start your journey on the road to recovery, there's so many different things that you're feeling because you don't know what's going to happen. The reason why you feel so much is because you have been wired a certain way for so long. And when you do feel these sort of things, when you feel these emotions, when you feel these pangs, well, automatically you try to stop yourself. You don't want to stop yourself, but your automatic reaction to it is to sabotage your commitment to the journey. And I wanted to talk about the reasons for why you try to sabotage your journey, and you try to do that. There's a lot of resistance at the beginning, and the beginning, I think sometimes is the toughest part, the toughest hurdle to get through, because you have to create momentum. But that's the part where you feel a great deal of resistance. And I guess resistance from your initial commitment. And I want to talk about that. And so there are two reasons why you try to sabotage your journey to recovery. The first reason is that it is in our human nature to be lazy. Humans are naturally lazy. They we want to be comfortable all the time. We don't want to feel any resistance. So we do everything that we can to make ourselves comfortable. That's how we are actually sold today by so many when we get bombarded with advertisements, if they are good and if the product is good, they've made it quicker and they've taken out the work portion of it. And so those things, if those products sell the best because there's there's less stress, there's less resistance, there's less discomfort. And so if you can get what you want without having to work for it and straight away, that's the magic potion. And ads and companies that sell very well do these. And a lot of these, like for example, Ozempic is a drug that people will use to lose weight. It's basically you're popping a pill and you're losing the weight, as opposed to, say, having to eat well, because that takes discipline. And then it also involves eating things that you don't want to eat and doing that consistently over a period of time. And so if you weigh 300 pounds and you're trying to get to 200 pounds and you have a choice between whether you should go on a diet and exercise, which would then take you, say, maybe 6 months to a year to do, let's say, or taking a pill that would do all of that, which one is going to be more attractive to the masses? And you would say that the pill, if it's affordable, that most people would probably take that because it takes out the legwork, it takes out the time, you get to where you want to go quickly. And that's how humans are wired. They're wired for laziness. They're actually wired for survival. And when I say survival, that also includes any kind of pain or any kind of resistance, pressure that you would, duress that you would put yourself under. So if you can avoid doing those things, you're going to do that. I love the way that David Goggins has talked about this in his books. He talks about your governor, right? So your governor, so if you don't know, just to give you a bit of context, is that voice that you have in your head. So you've got a voice in your head that tells you what to do on a daily basis. This is your governor. The governor is going to tell you what to do regardless of whether the overall outcome is going to be better for you, is going to be better for you or not. What it's going to tell you is what you need to hear in the moment to get what you want today. So that is its only job, is to get to comfort immediately, get to where you don't have to experience any kind of hardship immediately. You know, skip the pressure, skip the duress, find a way to get to where you need to go immediately with the least amount of resistance. And so I love that, because I love the term governor, because that properly identifies the voice, or it properly labels the voice, because it actually governs you. It actually it tells you what to do, and you listen because that's how you're wired. So humans, they're lazy by nature. They love to be comfortable. The second reason why you try to sabotage your recovery is because your brain and your body knows that change equals work. So change equals work, and also work equals pain. And your brain knows this your body knows this, so your physiology understands that if you're going to go down this journey, there's going to be pain. You're going to hurt in every way. You're going to hurt emotionally, you're going to hurt physically, you're going to hurt, and not just in one circumstance. You have to be hurt and pressured for a length of time consistently. And so your brain is going to harp on this. It's going to say to you, if you go down this path, this means that you're going to hurt, and you're going to hurt a lot. Not only that, you're going to have to skip all these things that you've been doing for so long, and all these things that you love. And it'll come up with layers upon layers upon layers of rationalization for why you shouldn't go down this path, for why recovery is so bad for you. And all of them in your brain will sound reasonable and justified, because the hope is that you're not going to put your body through that. So we inherently don't want to hurt. So if you notice, we're all trying to escape pain in one way or another. And we're always trying to find the path of least resistance, because we don't want to feel pain. We want to be, and especially in this day and age, because we're in the age of convenience and comfort. And we are so comfortable today that I believe the more comfortable that we have become, the less we're doing for ourselves, the less good we're actually doing for ourselves, the less progress we're actually making, because we so want things yesterday. We want things, and because we have been able to get them straight away, we have set this expectation for ourselves to get things immediately. Because of that, it makes it much easier for us to fold and to sabotage ourselves. So these two things, your human nature of being lazy and being comfortable, works in tandem with your brain understanding that you're if you try to change, you're going to experience a world of hurt. Those things work together, they work in tandem to stop you, to block you from going on the journey. And if they've done a good job, then what it would do, and easily do, is divert you to a vice, which will give you an immediate bump of dopamine, which would then justify and show you that, look, you can get this straight away, and you can get it all the time. And it's a good trick, but it's a lie. And your brain lies to you all the time about things, because it doesn't want you to feel hurt, doesn't want you to experience pain. But what your brain also doesn't tell you is that instant gratification, having a mentality or having a lifestyle where you have only instant gratification, sets you up for more pain in the future. That's the part that your brain leaves out. It doesn't tell you that, hey, in the future, if you continue this behavior, if you continue this pattern, if you continue to have these habits, then in the future it's going to be detrimental. And it's going to manifest in multiple ways, and that will create potentially even more heartache down the road. Ships a ship in a harbor is safe, but that's not what they're built for. And us as human beings, we we can be safe and we can avoid pain and we can try to live as comfortable a lifestyle as we possibly can. But that's not what we're built for. And that's such an interesting contradiction, is that you're wired to be lazy and to be comfortable, but that's really not what you're designed for. You're designed for, and if you believe this, you're designed for greatness. Everyone on this earth, put on this earth, has actually been designed for greatness. But whether or not we realize this potential is a completely different story. And that will be subjective to whatever life experiences and hands that we've been dealt, and also the mindsets that we've been able to cultivate. But you have everything working against you when you begin this journey. And so you might wonder, well, what is it that you can do about this if you're about to go on your journey, or if you have started your journey and you're starting to experience these emotions, these really strong pangs that you're feeling, and this resistance inside, this governor that's screaming, speaking loudly to you and trying in every way to sabotage your commitment to the journey. What can you do? And so there's a couple of things I want to share with you that you can take away that would be helpful. One of the things, and I think is a really key thing, is for you to be to understand that it's that having experiencing all these emotions, experiencing these loud voices, your governor screaming at you, experiencing these pangs and all this anxiety at the beginning of your journey and even throughout your journey, because there'll be moments and times where you'll have ups and downs, but it's just really strong at the beginning. The thing to understand is that it's just part of the process. If you understand that, and if you have that awareness that, hey, I'm feeling some sort of way, but you have this understanding that that is actually part of the journey. What you're experiencing in these moments isn't something that is weird or outside of the ordinary, or outside of what you physically and emotionally as a human being will experience. This is part of it. You're going to feel these things that will actually help you to be able to manage yourself, or manage those feelings in a much better way. Because you take the other way of it is, oh, I'm feeling all this way, I need to go back because it doesn't feel right. No, you have an awareness now that, hey, that's actually just that's just the part of the first stage. These are things that I actually have to go through. So if you have that understanding and knowing that, then you expect it to happen. And when you expect things to happen, you in a way or unconsciously prepare for it. So that's a very different mindset than somebody that's going into it feeling these things and not knowing what to do with it. And then because they don't understand what's happening, they will fold. So having that understanding will help you to manage manage those expectations. Sorry, not the expectations. Manage those feelings better. Manage those emotions in a more positive and productive way. And so I also want to remind you that your pangs that you're feeling is just your brain trying to sell you the lie that you can't be without your vices. So remember that whenever you're feeling those feelings, that there's a governor, which is the voice that you have, which is built into you as a human being. Its job is to is to move you away from any kind of discomfort or pain in the immediate. If it can take you away from it, it's going to. But that, don't listen to your governor. Your governor is lying to you. You have to remember that. Well, you have to ask yourself, who is the governor? Who is actually in control here? Is it your natural tendencies? Is it your is it your governor that's going to rule you, or is it going to be you that rules you? Are you going to take control of your governor, or is your governor going to take control of you? So you've got two parts of you. You've got the part that's built into you. These parts are actually both built into you, but the one that is trying to that's designed for comfort and laziness and for survival is the one that you have to overcome it. You have to tell your governor that you are the one that's in charge. And just remember that whenever your governor speaks up, that your governor is lying. He's going to try and stop you from doing all the things that are going to help you in the long run to become a better person and the best version of yourself. And every time that you have a win over your governor is going to make it easier and easier for you to be able to make a better decision. But it does not take that away, because your governor at any stage, its job, it's always there. Its job is to try and take you away from any kind of hardship, duress, pressure whatsoever. That's its job. It's always going to be there. Just remember, when it's speaking, it's lying. Your job is to be in control. You're the one that's in control, not your governor. And so the other thing that I want to say to you, apart from understanding that it's just part of the process, is to take courage that when you're feeling this way, that you're actually on the right track. So if you're starting to get resistance and your governor is speaking up and is screaming loudly, just know that you are actually on the right track. If you're on a path where you have absolutely no resistance at all, that is absolutely the wrong path to be on. The path that you want to be on to becoming the best version of yourself is the path where you have resistance, where you have your governor telling you, don't do this, it's not good for you. Whenever your governor is speaking like this, then you know you're at a point where you can make a better decision, and the better decision is going to be better for you in the long run. It's going to lead you and guide you towards the person that you are supposed to become, and to be able to realize your potential. Every time, if you hear your governor a lot in your life, and we all do, and every time you make a win, it builds your confidence. That's how you build your confidence. That's how you create momentum. That's how you build consistency. It's just by winning your governor time and time again. Whenever your governor talks, recognize that that's your governor talking, and having this awareness now that whenever you hear those lies coming up, that that's your governor, you can put a label on that now. And having this awareness is great now, because you can say, hey, that's that dude in me that's trying to lead me in the wrong direction. I need to make a better decision than that, because the governor's not going to in control here. I'm the one that's in control. And as you progress, these emotional spikes that you're experiencing, they will become more tempered. They will start to calm down. Understanding that you have a side of you that is trying to talk you out of all the good things you should be doing is a good one. Knowing that you have that side of you in you is half the battle, and the other half is just making a better decision than what your governor is suggesting. And so I want you to brace yourself and remember that having these emotional highs and lows, and a whole myriad of different things that you might be feeling, and maybe all at once feeling overwhelmed, it is all just part of the process. And if you're feeling those things, then you're on the right track. And if you're about to go into recovery journey, then expect these things. Expect to feel uneasy because of the unknown. Understanding that is half the battle, but recognizing that you have a side of you that's going to try and sabotage you all the time, that's that's important. That's important to know. But make sure that whenever your governor is talking, that you can make a better decision. You recognize that that voice is there, but you also know that you have a choice and you can make a better one. And then those, the more wins that you can stack up moving forward, it creates your momentum, and those emotional spikes will start to temper. And those things will take time, and it's not like, you're not going to be perfect every time, but the more awareness that you have about what's going on in your brain during your journey is going to help you in the long run to make better decisions. So I hope that's helpful, and to those of you who are on the journey, and to those of you who are looking to make that commitment. That commitment is a big commitment, but you know it's the right commitment. Anything that has to do with bettering yourself and becoming the best version of you is the right decision, always. So with that being said, I hope you guys are having a great day, and hope this was motivating to you, and I'll see you next time.